Welcome to the second episode of the Strictly Football Podcast. I'm Kiana Bossi, sitting here with Gershom Zeller.
Hey, happy to be here. I'm excited for this one.
In this episode, we're going to go over the major European leagues, MLS Cup Final. We're going to recap the Champions League group stage. In NFL, we're going to go over some score predictions for this week's games. We're going to go over some news from around the league and some daily fantasy tips. We're super excited about the fantasy segment. It's new, it's exciting, and it'll include some great tips to help you guys make some money. All right, so we're going to kick it off with going over the Premier League and some interesting games this weekend. Just first things first, I want to apologize for my voice. I'm feeling a little under the weather, but we still wanted to get this podcast out to you guys on schedule. So the Premier League, the game of the weekend right here is the Manchester Derby, Man City versus Man United, 1 versus 2. It's definitely looking to be a classic.
I think so too. I think it's a good matchup this week because somebody needs to show that they can beat Manchester City. We need one team to step up and show that these boys can be beaten.
That's not Shakhtar.
And it's not Shakhtar. Although, going into the Champions League game, they showed Manchester City showed that they have some flaws, they have some holes that can be exploited, and we'll look at Jose Mourinho to provide another managing masterclass against them in this week's matchup.
Yeah, Mourinho will have to do that. I mean, he's without star midfielder Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
He received a red card against Arsenal. He's out.
Look, but Pep is inviting the challenge. Pep has actually came out with a recent quote saying that he's disappointed that Pogba won't be in the match.
Yeah,
Pep wants to show that he can beat the best team of United. He's confident that he can, and there's good reason for it. I mean, I'm backing City in this game personally.
Yeah, I think City will win as well.
So there's reason for him to be confident based on his electric offense and his really, this is a newfound defensive solidity that they've shown this season. They didn't have it last year for sure. John Stones is looking like a much better player when he's in the lineup. They just look more comfortable in the back. They're definitely more comfortable on the ball especially, which is something that Pep Guardiola demands from his team.
Right. And another game that we're going to get to, another derby, is a rivalry weekend in the Premier League. You got the Merseyside derby, Liverpool versus Everton. Liverpool currently sitting in 4th place with 29 points. Everton in 10th with 18.
When I've been watching Everton play this season, their offense is just it's stagnant. You know, it's not a fluid offense. It's hard to watch for me. It's just not fun. And in Liverpool, you have the exact opposite. They scored 7 goals in their past Champions League game this week, and they just look amazing every time I see them play. Offensively, at least. Defensively, it's another story, which is why this game is going to be an interesting one to watch, even with Everton currently sitting in 10th in the league. They've been showing poor form throughout this season. But look at talisman and captain Wayne Rooney.
He loves to score against Liverpool.
He loves a goal against Liverpool. Look to him to have a good game this weekend.
An early prediction for that game?
I see Liverpool winning decisively 3-1.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you. I'm going to give Everton the win. I'm going to give Merseyside's going to be blue this weekend. Let me tell you why. They have a new manager. Big Sam's their new manager. They're looking for a result. He's looking for a result to win, to get the fans on his side. He needs Rooney to come up big. He loves to score versus Liverpool. I think Everton come out just slightly 2-1.
I don't think they'll be able to stop the momentum that Liverpool has right now.
I think they're spent from the middle of the week.
We'll have to see. I mean, yeah, they've had problems with that before. That's why they try to make a rotation between Salah and Mane. But Klopp does a good job of managing his side, and I think those boys up front are just going to be too much for Everton to handle this weekend.
All right, we'll just agree to disagree on that one. Another game you wanted to highlight was Southampton versus Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal's coming to this weekend after their loss to Manchester last week, and in a game where it was really fun to watch. It was great football played by Arsenal, and they feel left they're left feeling a little disappointed after not getting the win against Manchester that last weekend. So I'm looking to them to have a bounce back game this week against a struggling Southampton side. But although they're struggling in the league, currently sitting at 11th, they've shown that they have a really solid defense, backed by their captain Ryan Bertrand. So we'll be seeing an Arsenal side, hopefully, that can make waves against their defense this weekend.
All right. I think there's a possibility for a big upset there, though. I think
Yeah, of
Southampton
course,
could
always.
come out.
That's why we are looking at this game, because Arsenal have shown in the past that they can disappoint in games where we expect them to win, or we expect them to at least put in a good performance. So I wanted to highlight this game especially for that reason, because if Arsenal busts, I think they're not even going to make it into the top 4 this year, because the teams right now in the Premier League are just showing that they're playing at a different level. So for Arsenal to make it into the top 4, they're gonna have to play especially well this year.
All right. Well, now we're going to move over to Germany and the Bundesliga. One game we specifically wanted to highlight, which is the Friday game for Week 15, is number 1 versus number 2, Bayern Munich versus RB Leipzig.
No, it's an amazing game. I'm really looking forward to this one. Bayern, as we've highlighted in the last episode, is having a resurgence under Jupp Heynckes. I think they play a different brand of football now, opposed to when Ancelotti was the head of the team. And they have a great opponent again this week after facing Paris over the week. Now they have Red Bull, so they can really showcase just exactly how much they've got in store.
Yeah, I say if Bayern wins this Bundesliga, as good as done.
Yeah, this is the game. This is the game where Red Bull Leipzig has to put a mark into Bayern's lead.
Right, there's only a 6-point difference. Leipzig wins, there's a 3-point difference, and it's anybody's game. You have Schalke breathing down their necks. You got Mönchengladbach coming in.
Yeah,
it becomes a little more interesting.
It really is. It's actually the pinnacle game for the week. It's very nice that it's the Friday game, because we're going to have a better overview of the lay of the land after this Friday game for the weekend, and we'll see if Schalke gets a win and if Borussia Mönchengladbach gets a win, possibly the table looking at a little bit more even.
Yeah, that's why we highlighted this one. And as a neutral, personally, I want to see Leipzig win just to see the competition in the league. You know, we went over this last podcast. We really don't like Leipzig and as an institution, but I want to see them come out as victors in this game just so we can see some competition.
I may not like them as an institution, but I have to say they have some cracking players on that team. Look for Naby Keita to have a nice performance. He's hot right now. He just scored a wonderful goal in the Champions League over the week where he dribbled through the entire team and had a slaloming run, finished with an easy, close-to-goal finish after his amazing dribble. I really like this man. Hopefully he carries his form into this game.
All right. From Germany, we're going to move over to Spain and La Liga. We have 3 really interesting games for 3 of the top 4 teams. Sevilla versus Madrid.
Dude, you're really sick, man, huh?
Yeah. There's for those of you guys who don't know, there's some fires going on in LA, unfortunately, and the smoke gets into your lungs, and
oh my god,
it makes it worse.
I was gonna make fun of you. I was gonna sit here and just like berate you with insults, but now I don't want to, because this fire is really serious. We're all pretty scared out here.
Yeah. We had a lot of university and then high schools were canceled for the rest of the week, but yeah. But we're working really hard to get this podcast out to you guys. So
stay strong, SoCal. I want to put that message out there for any viewers in SoCal. Stay strong. We're out here with you. It's a family out here too.
Yeah, that 100%. We're praying for everybody. We're praying for the firefighters out there blazing.
God bless. Oh my God. These men don't get enough credit, in my opinion. It's crazy what they do to ensure our safety.
Definitely. Now looking forward to the game of the weekend in the Liga. You got 5th place Sevilla versus 4th place Real Madrid.
Yeah, they're both equal on points, so this is a really important matchup for them. More so for Madrid than Sevilla this week, because if they take a loss in this game, the point difference for them to reach Barcelona at number 1 is insurmountable, in my opinion. At 10 points, that's just a bit too much. You know, that's of course predicting a win for Barcelona this week, which may not be easy.
Yeah,
either.
We'll get to that. But like you said, I think this is a must-win game for Madrid. And more importantly than the point differential, I think, is the confidence boost that a win would give them. They won against Dortmund over the week. Sure, yeah, this is a struggling Dortmund side, but Sevilla is a Spanish powerhouse.
Yeah, for sure.
So if they win, maybe convincingly, puts Ronaldo back on track as a goal scorer, puts Benzema back on track, puts Real Madrid as a whole back on track.
Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see this being a important game, a catalyst game for their season that determines in which direction they'll go. But first things first, Real Madrid has to address their problem in the defense. They need to show that they can stop the attacks of quality sides from scoring goals against them, as well as these lower league sides that have shown that it's not impossible to put 1 or 2 behind Real Madrid.
Right, now we're going to move over to second place Valencia taking on 10th place Celta Vigo. On paper, this isn't that competitive a game, but Celta Vigo has given big boys of La Liga a tough time in the past.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the points on the table doesn't deem everything for that team. Celta Vigo is a great team. They've got a class midfield with a great talisman. I love their striker, Iago Aspas. He currently has 8 goals in the league, and he's putting in world-class performances. Over last the week last week, he was the man responsible for Celta Vigo's draw with Barcelona, scoring a goal and assisting one. And that's something that's not so easy to do against the Barcelona side this year. So you have to give respect to their team and you have to give respect to that man. And I think it's going to be a great matchup against Valencia this weekend.
And the final game we're going to highlight in La Liga is Villarreal versus Barcelona, first place versus sixth place.
It's a must-win for Barca. As I said, we're already predicting them to get a win in this game. And that is what I'm predicting. Big loss, obviously, losing Samuel Umtiti for the next 2 months. We talked about that in the last podcast. That's really going to show its repercussions in this match, I believe. We're going to find out if Vermaelen, who has looked pretty decent in the past couple games, if he has what it takes to be in the backfield, in the defense of this world-class side.
Yep. Now we're going to move over to Italy and Serie A, where we have one main game we want to point out for you guys, and that's Juventus versus Inter Milan, first versus third.
Yeah, you got the 2 high-scoring Argentines, and Mario Icardi and Paulo Dybala, sitting first and third respectively in the goal totals in the Serie A. You got Mario Icardi with 16 goals and 15 appearances. You know, we may be a little bit spoiled with Ronaldo and Messi's goal totals over the past 5 years. Mauro Icardi is barring on those lines, and this is extraordinary. To score more goals in games that you've appeared in is really something that doesn't come around very often. So you have to give credit to him. And Dybala isn't far away from that. He scored 12 in his last 15. So you got to look at those 2 men specifically in this matchup.
Right. Icardi, as a matter of fact, his name's being thrown around as the potential transfer target for Real Madrid in the winter. Maybe solve their goal-scoring woes.
I think so. He's a good player. He showed his class, and
not so much off the field though.
That's where the problem lies. He is the captain of that Inter side, but reluctantly the fans really don't like him. He's found trouble with the ultras. And no, trouble follows this man, and these stories follow this man. I actually have an interesting thing. I found this out not too long ago. Listen to this. When he was first playing in Sampdoria, he had one friend in that team. He was a young man. He recently got cut from the Barcelona B team, so he had to move to this new team, went to Sampdoria. There was already an Argentine there who decided to take Mauro Icardi under his wing. This man was an older gentleman. He was an older man on the team, a veteran, and he took care of Icardi as much as he could, showed him the ropes. The way Mauro Icardi repays him, the favor he does to repay him, is have an affair with this man's wife.
Jesus.
Mauro Icardi's wife is now that woman that he had an affair with, who is also not only his mistress and his current wife, but also his current agent.
Jeez. This is all tangled.
It's really like a tabloid story and like a soap opera following Mauro Icardi. So I think that's also perfect for Real Madrid. They like someone who has a bit of a celebrity to his name. So yeah, I could see this being a potential transfer target for Madrid for sure.
See, if Juventus wins this match, they leapfrog Inter Milan into first place, guaranteeing if Napoli loses. Which they also have a tough game versus Fiorentina.
Yeah, so that's also an interesting game to watch.
Yeah. And then that gets rid of Inter's perfect season.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be looking to continue a perfect season. Their team isn't that world class. It isn't that amazing. But this is going to be the catalyst game to show whether they can remain in that top spot or if it will end up in Juventus' hands once again.
Definitely. Now we're going to quickly move over to a preview of the MLS Cup Final on Saturday between the Seattle Sounders versus Toronto FC. We just want to give some love to our league back on the States, MLS.
And we're very excited for this matchup.
Yeah. Seattle, obviously, is a rematch of last year's final. It'll be held in Toronto at BMO Field. You can catch us on Saturday on ESPN. it's still going to be an interesting game. Seattle obviously is a very strong team with a really potent attack. And then on Toronto, you have some superstars in Giovinco, Altidore, and Bradley. Altidore had an injury over the semifinals against Columbus Crew, although he still scored after being injured. So that really proves a testament at how strong.
He's a hard man. He is a hard man.
He is. He's much loved. The fan love him. And the two things I want to point out about Seattle and MLS and Toronto in MLS is their fans. They have arguably, I want to say with Seattle, Toronto, Portland, and Atlanta, they have the best fans in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is no disrespect to any other fan groups of any MLS clubs. You know, if you're out there supporting your team, supporting your city, all the more power to you. We need more people like you. We need people supporting MLS.
But what you're saying is the truth.
But you go look at CenturyLink Field in Seattle. You look at Toronto.
Yeah.
Their fans make these amazing tifos. They're chanting for 90 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
They're imitating this European and South American fan culture that's absent in most of the United States.
Yeah, it's disappointing to go to a game and you just see dead fans who just aren't involved in the game. They don't want to cheer. They don't want to yell. They don't want to scream. There's
no passion.
Yeah, exactly. It's the opposite in these stadiums. The opposite with these fan groups. It's really fun to watch. And they just bring an atmosphere to the game that you have to have.
And as a part of these fans of football, you as the listener, us as the hosts, it is our duty, I think, if we live in the United States, to push this fan culture. Mm-hmm. You need to be the change that you want to see. You got to get out. If you want to see the United States national team succeed, you want to see MLS become a better league, gain more reputation, better players come over here, not only when they're retiring, but when they're in their prime. We need to be the change. You need to go out. You need to support your MLS team. You need to stand there, sing for 90 minutes, chant for 90 minutes.
Where do I sign up to make you the president of the American Football Association?
I wish, yeah.
You couldn't have said it better.
There's so much more we can discuss on the U.S. Federation, but specifically MLS as a league needs to be. It's come a long way, but there's some change that we need to see. And that's, to be honest with you, we've given it enough time for these franchises to do it themselves and the GMs and the owners to do it themselves.
It's not going to
happen.
And
aside from, like I said, Seattle, Portland, Toronto, Atlanta, and maybe a couple others here and there, it's not happening. The fans need to take it upon themselves to do it. And you saw them doing it with the Columbus Crew and the whole Save the Crew movement.
Yeah, for sure.
And, it might be too little too late for them, but you got to do it.
Yeah, and we have to look forward with optimism.
Yeah, definitely.
We can't just classify American fans all in the same group, and we can't just strictly bash American fans. We've obviously, as fans in America, made huge steps and have taken the time to really get immersed into the game and taken the time to really get into the game. Yeah. And soccer is a game that's filled with passion.
Yep.
So
the players, I guarantee you, the players playing in these MLS games, they have passion, no doubt.
That's why it's disappointing for us to see passionless fans at times in the stands. It's very disappointing because it's something that doesn't go hand in hand with football. It doesn't go hand in hand with soccer. So we love to point out these amazing cases in Atlanta, Portland, Seattle, because these are fans that we respect and these are fans that we admire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you guys want to see how to emulate these fans in your own MLS games, just watch the MLS Cup Final. You got two great sets of fans.
Don't even emulate them. Just go to the game and be yourself. You're gonna want to cheer. You're gonna want to yell. You're gonna want to sing the songs. Just go out there and be yourself. Don't care what the person 2 rows down from you is thinking about you.
Yeah, just enjoy yourself on a weekend. That's the whole point. Soccer is a distraction from what's going on in life. Sports in general.
Strictly.
So just go and Strictly Football does this. Just go out and enjoy yourself. Now we're going to move over to doing a quick recap of the group stage of the Champions League.
We had a nice week this week in terms of games. It was a lot of fun to watch those games.
It was. Now, looking over at Group A, we had Man United and Basel come out of that group.
Credit has to be given to Basel.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people expected them to make it out of the group, but they made it out somewhat convincingly off the back of a couple of away wins. So credit has to be given to them. I mean, it's not easy to kick Benfica and Spartak Moscow out of a group. So I want to.
Spartak Moscow was not in their group.
Sorry, who was it?
It was actually, I'm not sure. Let's.
I'm positive it was Moscow, but okay.
No, Spartak Moscow was in Group E with Liverpool and Sevilla.
You're right.
Group A was
okay, fact checking.
we're gonna quickly fact check right here.
Thank you.
It was Moscow, CSKA Moscow.
Oh, I said Spartak.
You said Spartak Moscow.
CSK. My bad.
Benfica.
CSK Moscow. Yeah, and Benfica.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, but
We pride ourselves on facts here at Strictly Football.
it's true. So yeah, it is very exciting to see what Basel can do, potentially making it out of the next round, based off their away wins. But that's something that needs to that I need to point out, especially because an away win in these European qualification groups is very important to see how well the team is going to do in the next stage. Away goals obviously mean a lot in the next couple of rounds.
Yep. Now moving over to Group B, PSG topped the group with Bayern coming in second.
That's what we expected. Maybe a flip-flop of PSG and Bayern, but they ended with the same points, and the goal differential is staggering just because of how many goals PSG was able to put up. So no surprises here, for me at least.
An interesting group is Group C, Roma and Chelsea in that order.
Yeah, with Atletico bowing out and heading into the UEFA Europa League. This one, I have to say, I'm a bit disappointed in Atletico Madrid. They've showed...
Just look, they had 4 draws.
It's the same form they've had in the league.
Yeah.
You can get away with it in the league, but in
the Champions League, it's do or die.
In competitive football, yeah, exactly. In this tournament football, you can't get away with draws. So they're in the Europa League this year, and as a Barcelona fan, I have to say I'm happy to see it based on the amount of times they've kicked us out of the Champions League.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to be without them. Barcelona and Juventus. Barcelona topping Group D, and Juventus coming in second place.
Yeah, moving on to my team's group. Yeah, it was a convincing win for them to win the group. They showed great performances
Undefeated
against Juventus. Finally, we beat Juventus in Juventus, and Messi got his elusive goal against Buffon. So I think it was a good performance from Barcelona. Juventus was not disappointing at all. They got deserved second place, and they'll look to make a strong push into the Champions League this year.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the group ended as the way we thought.
Yeah, for sure.
No surprises in that group. Group E, Liverpool topped it with Sevilla coming second.
Don't take it lightly that Liverpool got first place here.
Sevilla's a strong team.
It's extremely impressive that they got first place. They showed that they were able to keep their consistent. They were able to be consistent.
They scored 7 goals over Spartak Moscow just yesterday.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch. That really fun game to watch. Obviously, with their electric attack, this is something that you can't expect from them. You can't expect them to score 3-4 goals plus.
Yeah, Coutinho had his hat trick.
He was playing amazing. It was really just great play. When they all link up and when everything's clicking, they're hard to beat.
Moving on to Group F, Manchester City and Shakhtar Donetsk topped that group, and Napoli bowing out into the Europa League.
Yeah, I was talking up Napoli a lot in the last episode, and that's because they've shown really great form in the Serie A. But that form has not translated so much into this year's group stages of the Champions League, with them having a lot of disappointing performances and games where they would typically have gotten draws, they ended up losing. So to see them go into the Europa League is a bit disappointing. Hopefully they can make a deep run in that tournament, though. It's still a tournament worth fighting for. It's not as horrible as people deem it to be. It's a fun tournament to watch.
Yeah, moving on to Group G, Besiktas and Porto.
Come to Besiktas. I like Besiktas. You know, a lot of people will look at this group and sort of automatically discount Besiktas, but they're really a great team, and when you come to their stadium, it is an atmosphere.
It's roaring.
It is an atmosphere in itself. They really do have a 12th man.
Roaring and rocking.
So look for them to also make a nice run.
Yeah, they're a top-seeded team.
They should be. They should be.
But, you know, you're going to look at some of the other teams like Juventus, and when we get to Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, they'll want to play Besiktas.
They will.
That's their...
I mean, for Chelsea, as of right now, it is between Besiktas, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich.
Is that their...
and Paris Saint-Germain. Sorry, not Bayern Munich. Those are their potential three.
Yeah.
So they will 100% be hoping for Besiktas.
Yeah, definitely. Monaco, somewhat disappointing. No wins after getting into the semifinals last year.
Yeah, it's extremely disappointing. And, I can't pin it on one thing.
I mean, I can pin it on the absence of one, Kylian Mbappe.
The team has dipped in form largely ever since Kylian Mbappe left. But there were games that they were able to do it without Mbappe as well, with Falcao having an amazing start to the season, but now he's sort of plateaued, and he's fallen off a bit.
The final group, the group of death, Tottenham Hotspur finishing in first, Real Madrid in second, Dortmund in third.
Man, before I begin to talk about Tottenham and how impressive they've been, I have to talk about Dortmund.
Yeah. It's been disappointing.
It's disappointing.
Everywhere.
It's sad to see. Nobody wants to see them get out so early.
Yeah, we're USA fans. Christian Pulisic not in the Champions League.
Oh man, he had a great game yesterday as well. I saw him megging Sergio Ramos. I mean, think of that. A 19-year-old American kid megging Sergio Ramos. It's a little bit crazy. I mean, I kind of had a moment where I was just like, "Whoa, he's really made it." I'm proud for him. I'm proud of him. I'm like looking at his career as a proud dad. I really got a lot of respect for this young man, and I'm excited to see what he does with his career. But in this year, he won't be playing any more Champions League football.
Yep, Real Madrid, of course, they're lost to Tottenham. That's what caused them to go in second place. And a lot of the first place teams don't want to face them.
No,
because they're Europe's team. They're the Champions League team. They've proven that.
They may have disappointing form of the league this year, but in Champions League, they have shown that they will continue to be a world powerhouse that they are. They're still Real Madrid FC.
Right. And now we have some breaking news. Ronaldo has won his 5th Ballon d'Or, tying Lionel Messi.
This is huge. This is huge for him. 5 Ballon d'Ors. Nobody thought he'd be able to catch up to Messi's Ballon d'Or total. Mm-hmm. This is really amazing for him.
Does he deserve it?
It's hard for me to say that, Throughout this calendar year, he's won the most trophies, which is why they gave it to him. He won the Champions League again. So
the league, they did the double.
Exactly. Based off of the team's performance, of course he deserves it.
He led his national team to the World Cup.
But Messi did score more goals than him this year.
But so see that? Are we counting the metric of goals?
Messi did have more assists than him this year.
No.
Messi has more chances created than him this year.
Is it goals?
Messi has more dribbles completed than him this year.
In previous years, Ronaldo's been on the opposite end, where Messi's won more trophies. This is not an individual sport.
At the same time, in those years, the differential between Messi's and Ronaldo's goals were minimal. Messi always stuck around Ronaldo's goal mark, whereas this year, Messi is not miles ahead of Ronaldo, but he is a substantial mark ahead of Ronaldo, especially in assists and dribbles completed. So, is he the Ballon d'Or? Yes, I can't say that he did not deserve it, but I don't know. I'm a bit disappointed that it wasn't given to Messi.
I mean, this is a team sport.
Yes,
the best player should be the guy who wins the most.
It's true.
He won overall more than Messi.
Wins the most and contributes the most to his team, and he definitely does. You give this man the ball in the 20-yard box, and 9 out of 10 times he'll find a way to put it in the back
he had
of
a
the net.
cracking goal versus Dortmund. Looped it over into the right corner.
Beautiful. You give him an inch of space around the 25-yard area. And
an inch of space for him is like 5 yards of space for anyone else.
He just created separation on that play, got the shot off, top right corner, easy as you like.
Well, okay. Congratulations to Cristiano Ronaldo tying Lionel Messi. Another interesting piece of news that came out of that gala today. Kylian Mbappe becomes the youngest player to get into the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or voting, at 7th place.
Yeah, he's also the European Golden Boy, and yeah, he's a great player. We're gonna look to him to have a great career, and obviously now moving to PSG, he has the ability to do great things. He's with Neymar, he's with Verratti, he's with a class lineup. Hopefully, they can get some trophies by the end of the year, cement Mbappe's legacy, or begin the cementing of his legacy.
And I think, speaking over to next year, whoever wins next year's Ballon d'Or, whether it be Messi or Ronaldo, I think that's the last time either Messi or Ronaldo will win it.
I disagree. I think they have a lock on it for the next 3 years, but I already know the man who they're giving the Ballon d'Or to once Messi and Ronaldo are no longer the keepers of the Ballon d'Or. It's going to Neymar Jr. Now, the reason that he left Barcelona was to become an individual and to reach individual accolades. That's what it's looking like more and more. And I think he will get what he asked for. He will get his Ballon d'Or as soon as Messi and Ronaldo.
You think it's Neymar? Oh, that's going to be my follow-up question.
It is Neymar. It is going to be
Pogba.
Neymar. It could be Pogba, but
I agree with you.
Not on this Manchester United team that he's on currently.
I say if Brazil wins the World Cup next year, Neymar has a very, very strong chance of beating both Messi and Ronaldo out.
Yes, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of what-ifs that come into play with that, but you're right. You're right. If that's the case, then Neymar can win the Ballon d'Or.
Yep. So this concludes our world football or soccer portion of the episode. We'll be right back with the NFL part. All right, now we're going to move over into our NFL segment of our show. We're going to start off with doing some score predictions for this week's games, starting with Thursday Night Football, New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons.
We start off with a great game here. I'm really looking forward to this one. It's going to be at Atlanta. It's going to be in the new Atlanta Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And I'm looking for the New Orleans Saints to show that they deserve to their bye that they're currently,
regarded as one of the best teams in the league, yeah.
They need to show that they can do it against the big teams. They need to show that they can do it against Atlanta.
Because they lost to the Rams.
They lost to the Rams.
So if they can beat Atlanta, maybe that makes up for it.
It does, definitely. And Atlanta, at the same time, on the other hand,
they're also fighting for...
They need to show that they can regain their form
space,
as well.
Yeah.
They're fighting for the playoff space. They've had some disappointing matchups. They took a loss to the Minnesota Vikings. We talked about that a lot in the last episode. And we talked about Minnesota's amazing clock management. New Orleans doesn't play so much like that. They are really playing on the back of their amazing running back duo with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. So it's on the Atlanta Falcons to control the clock management of the game, to control the game flow. So I'm really looking ahead to this one.
Mm-hmm. Can we get a score prediction?
I'm gonna predict this to be a high scoring game. I see Atlanta putting up 28 and beating the New Orleans Saints, who can only put up 24.
Okay, I say it's also a high scoring game, but I have New Orleans winning 34-26.
Okay. Yeah, it can very much go either way in this game. I really am looking forward to this one.
Yep. Now moving over to this main sweep of Sunday games. Indianapolis at Buffalo. It's pretty lackluster matchup right here.
Yeah, and there's not a lot to fight for either.
Buffalo's sitting at 6-6.
We're starting to get the impression that Buffalo will actually begin to tank the season. They're not looking to actually make the playoffs this year. Is what we're starting to think, and that's going to be exemplified on their quarterback choosing for this week's game. Either it's going to be Peterman, or they're going to try to rush Tyrod Taylor. If they try to rush Tyrod Taylor, then they're not going for the tanking. They're going to obviously try to make a playoff run. But if they start playing Peterman, look for the Bills to tank. And I actually will take the Indianapolis Colts, even though they're playing away in Buffalo.
Who, the Bills Mafia?
I don't think they'll take it in this one. I think this is Indianapolis's game to lose. They got to show that they can do it. They can win some games even with Brissett under center.
I say Buffalo still takes the win. I think Indianapolis isn't good enough.
As bad
even if they're trying to take
Indianapolis's defense is, I still think that they can come out with an amazing performance against Peterman if Peterman's a starter. And we have a little bit more news on Tyrod Taylor. He actually was not in practice today, so things are not looking in the right direction for that.
Okay, all right. Chicago at Cincinnati. The Bears at the Bengals.
This is a good game. I think Cincinnati got unlucky in the game against Pittsburgh. We were talking about that. And I think they're going to correct their mistakes. They have another game at home, so that they should be beating an easy Chicago team that they've looked pretty bad over the past year.
And a point I want to make about the Bears is Mitchell Trubisky. He has not looked like the savior. Even though it is his first year, I'm not going to label him a bust. But what I've seen from him, I've seen flashes of greatness.
Well, that was even him in college. People,
but he's not consistent.
Yeah,
and I think he could be at best. He'll be a starting quarterback, but he'll be like a mid-tier, mediocre starting quarterback.
Before the draft, people labeled him as the highest potential player to bust because we had the lowest sample size. He only played 13 games in college. Uh-huh. So we didn't really know the player that we were going to get out of that. and he's showing us that he can play. We've seen some amazing plays by Mitch Trubisky, but one of the key parts of being an NFL quarterback is being the leader of the team, and being able to control the game. It's on your shoulders to control the game. And when it's time for Trubisky to control games, he doesn't show up.
Yeah, the next game we have is Green Bay at Cleveland.
Yes, this is a good matchup here. We got Brett Hundley, and if he wins his last game under center at Green Bay, if he loses, possibly Green Bay will be looking to bench Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the season and let him recover from his injury fully before they get him out ready to play again. So
I think they win regardless, though.
I do think they win regardless, and I do think that this will be Brett Hundley's last game under center, and they'll bring Aaron Rodgers back from IR, and they'll continue their season, and the Browns will continue their season.
I think Aaron Rodgers is out. I don't think he comes back.
He comes back in the next week. You're going to see. Mark my words. He comes back. He was off of IR next week.
All right. Here's a really interesting matchup. Oakland at Kansas City.
Really good one. You got an Oakland team that's regaining their form. You know, we bashed Derek Carr in the last episode. I'm looking at him specifically.
He has his receivers back.
He has his receivers back. We don't know if Amari Cooper will be back. He has cleared the concussion protocol.
Right, but he has Crabtree.
But Amari Cooper still has an ankle injury, so he missed practice today. And yeah, Derek Carr just came out with a quote today saying that Crabtree's looking more juiced up than ever. So yeah, hopefully those two.
This is an interesting game. They're both 6-6. The winner of this game will likely head the AFC West.
Kansas needs to win this game. They have to win this game.
But they've been unconvincing.
Last game they played well against the Jets. It's just Josh McCown brought in, produced an amazing performance. Josh McCown brought his team to that W. Alex Smith was amazing in that last game, and I expect him to be amazing in this game as well. In Arrowhead, I'm looking at Kansas City to get out in front early and win the game. I expect Kansas City to win a 34-21 game against the Oakland Raiders.
I think Oakland's going to take it personally.
There's no chance. There's literally no chance in my mind that Oakland has against the Kansas City.
Well, we'll meet
Chiefs.
back up on Tuesday and we'll see.
We will, but I'm telling you right now.
All right. Now, the Cowboys travel over to the Giants.
Yeah.
This is a Cowboys team that's fighting to stay in wild card contention.
Yeah, in the past,
versus a busting
this is a battle of giants in the past. And this season, we thought it would be a battle of giants at the beginning of the year. We thought these were two great teams coming into the year. But the season, and the cruel mistress that the NFL season has showed that both of these teams don't deserve to have such high applaud. The New York Giants have been more than disappointing this year, and the Dallas Cowboys O-line is not what we thought it was in terms of pass.
Pretty mediocre team
defense
this year overall, the Cowboys.
So I'm looking for the New York Giants to really show that they can get a win when it matters the most. You know, at home, Eli Manning under center. This is a primetime game. I really expect New York
prime time at 10 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's two primetime teams, and they're both looking to regain form. I'm really looking at the quarterbacks. It's Prescott versus Manning. And Manning needs to show that he deserves to be the quarterback of this New York team. Not just for this year, but for next year as well.
I think Dallas wins.
I think New York wins. I think Eli Manning pulls the cat out of the hat and wins the
game. Detroit against the Bucks. Where are we going with this? Both teams kind of sort of still in playoff contention.
Tampa's so disappointing to watch. I mean, you look at Jameis Winston. He's such a good quarterback. He has so much potential. But then he makes the stupidest plays you've ever seen a quarterback make. Just throwing the ball up, giving away.
Eating the W.
Yeah, of course, everyone's trying to make fun of him. Yeah, but he's actually a good quarterback. But he just makes really poor decisions at times. So I'm going to take Detroit in this one. And hopefully Matt Stafford will be playing. We don't have any news on that as of right now. Hopefully he will be playing in this one.
This is a very interesting game. Minnesota at Carolina.
Yeah, I got Carolina taking this one at home against a surging Minnesota team.
Yeah, do you think this is where it's the end of the line?
Look,
well, not the end of the line, but maybe a speed bump.
Cameron Newton has been showing flashes that he can produce elite level quarterback performances like he used to do in that 2015 season, And I think he will be able to do it at home with a healthy team, healthy offense, healthy offensive line. He should be able to get the win against Minnesota this week.
Okay.
They just have to make sure that they don't let Minnesota get into
the Panthers are still in contention for a wild card spot.
Of course, they got everything to lose. They got everything to play for. So I really expect them to come in with a great.
So you think Carolina wins?
I take Carolina.
I personally want Carolina to win. I think Minnesota would win. I want Carolina to win because it keeps things interesting. A. And B, I have Christian McCaffrey on my fantasy football team, and I want him to get me some points.
Well, good thing for you. I have him projected playing very well in this game.
All right. So San Francisco plays Houston in the next game.
Yeah, I got Houston at this one. In this one, I mean, they're at home facing Jimmy G. It's the second game under center. I think he's going to be a lot more confident in this game. I think he's going to be the player to watch out for the San Francisco 49ers. But with Houston playing at home, you should expect them to take care of this one pretty easily on the back of their amazing defense.
I think Jimmy G continues the Niners trend, and I think they get a surprising win out in Houston.
Hey, I'm cheering for them. I'm cheering for the underdog in this one, but I think Houston will get it.
All right, the Jets at the Broncos.
This one's an interesting game. I mean, who would have thought that the Jets would have such an electric offense this year, and that they'd be a team that's so fun to watch? And the Denver Broncos are the exact opposite. Trevor Siemian is having trouble moving his chains. That's obviously why they benched him to bring in Paxton Lynch as the starter, but Paxton Lynch got injured.
Yeah.
So now, and he was having his own problems. Paxton Lynch, a lot of people don't even deem him fit to be a quarterback in the NFL. So there's a lot of problems with this Denver offense right now, and the defense isn't doing as well as people had expected. Yeah, exactly. You think of the Denver Broncos defense,
the no-fly zone.
You automatically think of an amazing defense, but that's just not the case, especially for the past 5 games. They're ranked in the bottom half of the league in defense, points allowed to quarterbacks. So look for the New York Jets to surprisingly take the win in Denver. That's what I'm saying.
Interesting. The Titans at the Cardinals.
I'm taking the Titans in this one.
Yeah, the Titans are good. Mariota's been steadily getting better and better.
He is.
He's a young quarterback.
He's been having a mediocre season.
Yeah, but he's slowly,
compared to last year. It was just an incredible touchdown.
But he's slowly getting better each week.
For sure.
Arizona, I think they just fell out of playoff contention.
Exactly, yeah.
With the loss over last Sunday.
The one thing I'm looking for in this game is to see how many yards they can get Larry Fitzgerald. I think that's all they're playing for at this point. They just want to cement Larry Fitzgerald's legacy.
All right. The Redskins at the Chargers.
This is a good game. We got a Chargers team that we've been singling out in the last episode. We want them to do well.
Yeah, we want to see another LA team in the playoffs with the Rams.
And they have shown that they can play amazing football. The past couple of weeks, they've been playing really well. Obviously, the defense, as we've said hundreds of times, is amazing. Look for that secondary to shut down Kirk Cousins.
Keenan Allen.
And look for Keenan Allen on the offense
with Phillip Rivers
to move the chains. Exactly. Look for them to win this game.
Phillip Rivers has been heating up ever since each week. He's been getting better and better.
That's why I got Los Angeles to win this game in a blowout.
Yeah, okay. Seattle at Jacksonville. This is a very interesting game that I don't think a lot of people are talking about.
I'm surprised that they're not talking about it because you're exactly right, Keon. This is an extremely interesting game.
It's been flying very under the radar.
Look, the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson are showing that they can be a Super Bowl contending team again.
They have an MVP caliber quarterback.
But then you look at Jacksonville this year. Their quarterback is not disappointing either. Blake Bortles.
But I mean, most of the success
for the past 5 games, he hasn't been disappointing. Yes, most of the Jacksonville's success should be attributed to their defense and to Leonard Fournette. My God, that boy. My God. Leonard Fournette, that is a bad man.
That is a bad man, Stephen A.
So I'm really looking forward to this game, but I'm going to have to take Jacksonville at home. I think their defense puts enough pressure on Russell Wilson where he gets tired and he's not able to make. Yeah, he's not going to be able to make those plays where he can just run around the defense and throw the ball up.
I think they went max power on Philadelphia and they surprised everyone.
Yes.
But I think they lose against Jacksonville at Jacksonville.
Definitely.
I think their defense is too much.
Definitely.
I think their defense sacks Wilson.
Exactly. That's
more than enough time
to
ensure their victory. Yep. Now, Baltimore at Pittsburgh. We have a rivalry game for Sunday Night Football.
You got an amazing somewhat unstoppable force that is the Pittsburgh Steelers offense going up against an immovable
defense.
Baltimore Ravens defense. So I'm really looking forward to this one, but I think the Ravens have no chance in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, you say, improved to 11-3,
11-2, 11-2, and they take the win at home in this primetime Sunday night game.
Yep, it's going to be definitely a fun one to watch. Like last week against Cincinnati, let's expect a lot of big hits when these two play each other.
Hopefully not. I really don't want to see anything dirty, but
it's a big rivalry game. It's one of NFL's biggest rivalries.
But this is going to be
This is the game. Yeah. Monday Night Football. We have New England facing Miami.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty.
I think it's a trivial game for TB12
for us to call. Yeah. New England is going to steamroll the Miami Dolphins. They played 2 weeks ago, and that was the case. Look for New England to get out early and just rush the ball right on top of the Miami Dolphins. They will not have Gronk in this game.
Right, he's suspended.
So expect a bigger workload for Danny Amendola in this one.
Yeah, we'll get to that in our fantasy discussion.
Maybe he plays a big role.
He's a lookout. Our game of the week, you may have noticed that we skipped over one game. Our game of the week this week, what else would it be besides the Philadelphia Eagles coming into Los Angeles to play the Rams?
The Goff Wentz Bowl.
Yep, the 1 versus 2. Everybody proclaimed them bust, or at least they proclaimed Goff a bust last year. Yeah. And now look who's laughing.
Honestly.
This is a super interesting game. I think anywhere, if your team is not playing in the late sweep of rounds on Sunday, you watch this game.
I mean, both of them are playing for the bye. Both of them are fighting for that top spot in the division.
I think Rams are fighting for more than what Philadelphia has the NFC East on lock. Nobody's catching up to them. The Rams have the Seahawks on their necks. The Seahawks just beat the Eagles.
Yes.
You have this criticism of big brother, little brother in the NFC West.
Always.
You're like, okay, we can sense a changing of the guards. Maybe in 3-4 years, people are saying.
Sure.
But the Rams are like, no, it's happening now. We're the best team.
For this young team, yes.
Because this is a very young team. This is a sophomore quarterback, a third-year running back, a rookie receiver. Watkins is still young.
Of course.
This team is going to be good for years to come. Same with the Eagles.
And,
Alshon Jeffries just signed an extension.
All of Philadelphia's core has recently signed new extensions all the way up to 2020. So
right.
Both of these teams are going to be very good for a long time. And this is the matchup to kick off, hopefully, what becomes a new rivalry between these
East versus West.
These 2016 draft quarterbacks. I think this is going to be a great
everything.
game.
The storyline is all there. You got these great stories in both of them. I think this is the hardest game to predict out of all of them.
There's these stories that come in before matches that seem scripted. It just seems too good to be true that it's really the number 1 versus number 2 quarterback, and it really is these teams that have found their form, and it really is these teams that will be good for the future. So I think this game falls into that. It's gonna be a really fun one to watch. So please tune in.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the hometown bias. I'm gonna have the Los Angeles Rams just barely edging out the Philadelphia Eagles.
Not in this one. Carson Wentz gets it done. He knows when it's time to get it done. He will get it done in Los Angeles.
I say Rams win off a field goal.
And you want to know why the Los Angeles Rams will lose? I'll tell you why the Los Angeles Rams will lose. There is no electricity in the Coliseum.
See, now this is where I beg to differ. I was there versus the Saints. Their last home game. I was at the Coliseum.
Okay.
The big game. This was highlighted on everybody's.
A lot of seats were empty.
A lot of seats were empty, but this is a 100,000 seat stadium.
And the tickets are very expensive.
The tickets are expensive because the team is heating up.
Team's hot.
There are a strong contingency of away fans. And this is not going to change. LA football hadn't had a team for so long. People found fans in other teams. They became fans of other teams.
The Raiders.
The Niners. The surprising amount of Saints fans.
Yes.
After the awful Katrina
So
It gained a lot of sympathy. And
I'm not trying to bash LA fans. I'm just saying none of this is going to help the Los Angeles team.
But it was what I'm saying is that when Aaron Donald sacked Drew Brees,
Sure.
when Cooper Kupp caught a 30-yard pass, when Josh Reynolds caught that touchdown.
Did you feel it?
I did.
You felt it?
When Goff was winding up to toss that to Kupp down the field, everybody stood up, held their breath. It was silent for a second until Cooper Kupp came down with it, and then it erupted. This is a new era of football in Los Angeles. They are building a fan base. They are hot at the right time. This is going to be a game where Los Angeles must win. Philadelphia must win. It's going to be a shootout. I say LA wins off purely Greg the Leg and a field goal.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, you Rams. And prove me wrong, you Los Angeles fans.
Yeah, this is definitely super interesting to watch. It's a lot of the fate of the NFC is going to come down to this game and the next couple weeks. We're going to move over to some NFL news. Roger Goodell signed a new contract for 5 years, $200 million. A lot of discontent around the league about this.
Yeah, I personally have no say in the matter. Roger Goodell has shown that he can have some controversial stands on points, and he cannot come to the players' aids in times where they need it the most. But I don't think I'm in the position to deem this good for the NFL or not. I think Roger Goodell has shown that he's capable of managing this league. The only problem I have with the contract is the figure. I think $200 million is a lot, but who am I to say he can't get his money?
I'm on the side where I think Goodell should be out. I'm on the fire Goodell side. I think that the players are literally risking their lives. With all this concussion and CTE coming out, all these studies, they're risking their lives, and they need to fight in order to get medical insurance. And you have Roger Goodell sitting pretty up in his office, getting paid $200 million for 5 years to just sign papers and get booed by fans.
Oh, when you put it like that, what was I saying again? Fire Roger Goodell? Yeah, get him out of there. Get him out of the office. Yeah, screw Roger Goodell. We don't want him. We don't want him as commissioner.
Yeah, there you go. There's some fire. Browns, the Cleveland Browns, and their head coach.
Yeah, they announced that they will not fire Hugh Jackson. They will be keeping him on for the 2018 season. And this is something that I do have a problem with. The man has won one game in the past 2 seasons, and he's looking to have the first winless season in NFL since the 1970s. I think just based off of this alone, he should have been fired. The problem is he's actually a good coach. Hugh Jackson actually knows what he's talking about, and he actually runs great schemes. It's just the Browns organization is ran so poorly that they have no other alternatives, and they've decided to keep this coach.
I think they're going to actually fire him. I think this is going to be very similar to the Jeff Fisher situation, where he signed an extension right before, and then they ended up firing him.
He hasn't signed an extension, but they just announced that they will be firing him.
They said his backing.
They have his back. They have his back, at least, for now.
Yeah. We're going to move on to some Ryan Shazier injury updates. So he was moved to the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, and he's undergone spinal stabilization surgery. And they say it was a successful surgery, but it will take months for him to recover before he can even consider a return to football.
I mean, the fact that you even said that it's considering to return to football, that's a great sign. That really is a great sign for me to hear. I'm happy to hear that, but it's the last thing on my mind. The last thing on my mind is thinking about him putting on his Steelers jersey. I want first and foremost for him to be completely healthy, and I want him to be with his family for some time. I know that's what's most important to him right now.
Yep. Ryan Shazier is, of course, in all of our thoughts and prayers for a speedy, healthy recovery into being able to become, back to health.
Stay strong, 5-0.
Yep. Now we're going to move over into a new segment that we have. It's a daily football fantasy tips. Gershon?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of you guys are out there playing DraftKings and FanDuel, and I just wanted to make sure that we had your backs as well, and we can give you guys reliable fantasy picks and tell you guys what's going on for daily fantasy. So I have fantasy plays of the week, And all of this is going to be set in PPR scoring, which is the standard for DraftKings and FanDuel. My prices, however, are based on the DraftKings price system. The FanDuel price system is a bit different.
But it's similar.
But just to make sure so you guys know, you have to be comparing your prices, and what might be a value play on DraftKings may not be a value play on FanDuel. Anyways, moving forward from that, I want to bring a 5 and 5. 5 boomer bust plays and 5 must play for value plays. Starting off with my 5 boomer bust plays, we got the running backs, Devontae Freeman and Alex Collins. In previous years, Devontae Freeman was a must-play player in weekend fantasy leagues, regular fantasy leagues. Maybe not necessarily daily because of his high price cap, but this week he does not have a high price cap. He's actually a very, very solid play because of his boomer bust potential. His floor is not that low. You know he's going to get the rock. You know he's going to get the carries. But if Atlanta gets out into a lead early in this game, we expect a lot of points to be scored, and we expect at least 2 of them to be Devontae Freeman touchdowns. So look at him as a boomer bust play this week. Of course, there is the potential for him busting.
Yeah, we'll find out later tonight.
But we'll find out. For Alex Collins, he is the definition of boomer bust to me right now. His ceiling is very high. His floor is not too low because, again, he'll get the carries. But if it doesn't result in touchdowns, his carries don't mean anything. He'll be racking up yards, and it may not even go above 70. And when you're trying to play these daily fantasy games, we're talking about real booming. We're talking about high ceilings. You got to win. You're playing to win. So Alex Collins is one of those plays because in this matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, his team has to be looking to get touchdowns on the board where and whenever they can. My third boomer bust play of the week is Jermaine Kearse. A lot of people are going to shy away from him because he has the matchup against Denver this week. But as I was saying before, Denver's pass defense has not been what it used to be over the past 5 weeks, ranking in the bottom of the league. And if they were to shut down any of these 2 high-flying Jets wide receivers, they would shut down Robbie Anderson because he is the primary playmaking threat on that team, and he will be the number 1 person singled out by that defense. So look for Jermaine Kearse to be targeted more heavily while a bit of the attention of the defense is set on Robbie Anderson. My quarterback boomer bust play of the week.
This is an interesting one.
Well, it's my favorite pick of the week because it's my boy, Eli Manning. I gotta back him coming back from the benching this game. He has to show that he's an elite quarterback. He will have the lights on him. He will have the cameras on him this week against Dallas.
It's a rivalry game. Yeah, you never know what can happen in a rivalry game.
His price is very low in DraftKings, so he's and in a week this week the quarterback situation for streaming is a bit wonky. The top guys look great, and the bottom guys look pretty bad this week. Yeah, so look at Tom Savage and Eli Manning as boomer bust play potential players at the quarterback position. I have to back Eli Manning much higher than I do Tom Savage, but they're in about the same tier. Finally, and I have to save this man for last because he really stole the show last week, and I'm expecting him to have the potential to do that again. That's Flash Gordon, my boy, Josh Gordon. He's coming in as the number 5 boomer bust play of the week. And it's all in the name, Flash Gordon. You know, now you see him, now you don't. Sometimes he can get the points. He can rack it up real brief for you on some quick tubs, and sometimes he will disappear on you. This week, there's one reason in particular why I'm a little bit hyped on him. We've all heard the stats of how many points he's put up against Casey Hayward and the metrics on that. Not necessarily actually putting up points, but putting up fantasy points. He had one of the greatest matchups against Casey Hayward out of any receiver this year, only being topped by Odell Beckham Jr. Casey Hayward also came out and said today that Flash Gordon was, in fact, the best receiver he's had to play against this year. So look for him to come back and show people that he is a star wide receiver, not just some bum who got dropped from the team. Now, I got 5 must-play for value picks. This is my last 5 must-play. This is my last 5 picks of the day. These are players who are at reasonably good values for their must-play potential. These players, in my opinion, I'm telling you right now, I'm backing them. They have no room for busting. I am saying that these players, boom, they will just play well. So, firstly, we have 2 running backs here. My first one is Rex Burkhead. for the money that you're getting, Rex Burkhead, he's a complete steal. He's going to run up the tubs. He is the goal line back for the Patriots. We know that now. He's also the back on passing downs. So not necessarily all passing downs, but important third down passing situations and red zone passing situations. Rex Burkhead is the guy. So look for him to have a great game against Miami, where they're going to have to run up a bunch of touchdowns.
It's an easy defense. It's not too difficult to defense either.
No, it's a really easy defense, and we're expecting Patriots to put up a lot of points in this matchup. So expect Rex Burkhead to get the majority of those points. My second running back must play of the week is Kareem Hunt. Look, I know for a lot of you who have weekend leagues, Kareem Hunt has been extremely disappointing at the time that things matter the most. During your playoff push, during the playoffs now that we're in, Kareem Hunt has been a little lackluster. I expect that all to turn around right now. Kansas City has to realize that a lot of their slump can be contributed to their offense, and that offense needs to get Kareem Hunt the ball more. Expect him to get the rock this week. Expect Kareem Hunt to have a monster game. I'm really backing him this week, especially with the value. He's at 6,800 in DraftKings. Look at him to have a great week. At the tight end position, I got Austin Seferian-Jenkins. I got ASJ. He had an amazing start to the year. Really reliable target for the New York Jets, but so far he hasn't been that great in the past 5 weeks. Look for that to change against the Denver Broncos, who have been struggling against the tight end position all year long. So ASJ will be looking to get in the end zone once again free there. Finally, we have 2 players left on the must-play for value picks of the week. The first one is the Houston's defense, who is the must-play defense on both FanDuel and DraftKings. This week, they're incredibly undervalued. They're at home playing against San Francisco. Expect them to give you a reliable points from the defense position. It has the potential to boom. It has the potential to boom heavy. But of course, you're looking at them to get a touchdown. That's really why I'm picking them. I think they will get a touchdown in this match as a defense. So they're my must-play value for the week. Finally, the one wide receiver who I'm backing as the must-play value for this week is Kenny Stills against New England. As we said, Miami's going to be down in this game. They're going to have to throw the rock a lot. And Jay Cutler's new favorite target has been Kenny Stills. He gets down there. He's on his way to a 1,000-yard receiving year. This is his first one ever. And I think he's going to have a great game this week and be on the road for 1,000 receiving yards on the season. So these are my 5 boom or bust plays and 5 must-play for value picks of the week. That has been the Daily Fantasy Dose for today.
Thank you, Gershom. And that concludes our NFL segment of the show. We'll be right back. Thank you guys for joining us on the second episode of the Strictly Football Podcast. We had a great time discussing all these great topics. Check us next time on Tuesday for our next episode. This podcast is available on iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud, all under the Strictly Football Podcast name. I've been Kiana Bossi. You guys can check out my Twitter at KianaBossi23.
And I've, of course, been Gershom Zeller. You can follow me at SnacksYTB on Twitter.com. Please follow us for updates and news from around both football worlds.
Twitter.com, really?
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Bye-bye.